Disclaimer: this channel exists to inform, remind, and hold space for stories that deserve to be told completely. We are here because these stories matter. The content in this episode discusses a real event and a real person. We approach this story with respect for the family and the community. Dorsch Beach, West Side, Frederiksted, St. Croix, January 8th, 2026, 4:28 in the afternoon. Multiple calls hit the 911 emergency response center at the same time. Reports described a woman in the water, a vicious shark. The strangers on the beach that day did not hesitate. They jumped into the water and heroically pulled her out. They tried to save her life. Her name was Arlene Lillis. She was 56 years old, and she loved this island. She had come here for years. January 8th was supposed to be just another beautiful afternoon at the normally calm and beautiful beach. Unfortunately, she didn't make it home. This is the story. This is what happened. And these are the lingering questions. Before we talk about what happened, let's remember who she was. Arlene Susan Lillis was born on June 28, 1969 in Alexandria, Minnesota. She met her husband Richard in 1990. They married in 1992. Together, they had 2 children, a daughter, Chandra, and a son, Garrett. In June of 2025, just 7 months before she died, Arlene became a grandmother for the first time. Her granddaughter, Carter. By all accounts, she was overjoyed. She retired early. Arlene and her husband, Richard, would split their time between their home in Detroit Lakes and a property they owned on St. Croix, a place they had returned to year after year. Her neighbor and friend, Andrew Gamble, who lived next door to them on the island, said Arlene had owned that home for a decade. He described her as one of the most genuine, kind, and warm people you could ever meet. Her husband, Richard, wrote on Facebook after her death, "She will be missed every second of the day. She was so smart and loving." She arrived back on the island the night of January 7th. The next afternoon, she went to her favorite beach. It has a designated swimming area marked by buoys, the commonly known established safe zone for swimmers and snorkelers. That is where Arlene was, inside the buoys, in the area she was supposed to be, in the water she knew and loved. Dorsch Beach sits on the western coast of St. Croix, near Frederiksted. It's a popular beach. At approximately 4:28 in the afternoon, the 911 emergency call center began receiving multiple calls. The reports were a woman in the water, a shark attack. A concerned witness and hero, Christopher Carroll, was on the 2nd floor of Sandcastle on the beach, a guest house right there on the shoreline. He and his wife were visiting St. Croix to celebrate their wedding anniversary. It was their first time on the island. He had just come in from scuba diving off the Frederiksted pier and was waiting on his balcony when he heard what he described as ungodly screaming from the beach below. He knew immediately something was terribly wrong, so he ran downstairs and sprang into action. He is a nurse by profession and had also worked as a lifeguard. He jumped into the water. Ryan Connett, a hero and lineman from Nebraska who was on island visiting family, also proceeded to assist without hesitation. Both risking their lives, both ready to join in the treacherous fight for life. Carroll reached Arlene in the water. He later said he knew it was a big, big shark. He said that was the most terrifying moment, knowing there was blood in the water, knowing a large, aggressive shark was nearby, not knowing if it would come back. He grabbed her and towed her toward shore while Connett helped pull. Arlene was conscious when they reached her. She was able to tell Carroll her name. He recalls, "I just kept trying to reassure her that she wasn't alone and that they were going to get her help." By the time they reached the shore, Arlene had visibly lost her left arm from the elbow down. Bystanders elevated her legs. 2 nurses who happened to be on the beach also came forward to help. Marine units, fire, and emergency medical services arrived. First responders put her on a backboard and rushed her by ambulance to Juan F. Luis Hospital. Arlene Lillis passed away from her injuries that evening. Her husband Richard was not at the beach when it happened. Officers located him and transported him to the hospital. He was told his wife of more than 30 years was gone. Scuba divers with St. Croix Rescue later recovered Arlene's personal belongings from the water, including her identification, and returned them to her family. Jason Henry of St. Croix Rescue said finding those items was a way to bring peace to the family. By that night, Governor Albert Bryan Jr. and Lieutenant Governor Tregenza Roach had both issued statements. Governor Bryan said, "Our hearts are with the family and loved ones of the victim, and with everyone who witnessed this tragedy. We are grateful to the bystanders who acted immediately to render aid, and to the first responders who worked urgently and bravely in an effort to save her life." Lieutenant Governor Roach called Arlene a frequent visitor to our beautiful islands and extended condolences from the entire territory. The following day, a press conference was held. Officials from the VI Police Department, VITIMA, the Department of Planning and Natural Resources, and St. Croix Rescue were present. The VI Coast Guard had conducted a water search after the incident. Multiple agencies had coordinated the response. The DPNR formally confirmed on January 9th that Arlene's injury was caused by a shark. The species, however, could not be determined. DPNR's Nicole Angeli, Director of Fish and Wildlife, said the attack had shaken the entire community, and noted that while encounters with sharks are common in these waters, encounters that result in a bite are very rare. The investigation was declared ongoing. Anyone with information was asked to contact the Virgin Islands Criminal Investigation Bureau. Here is what we know. According to the International Shark Attack File, there have been fewer than 5 recorded shark attacks in the U.S. Virgin Islands since 1948. The last one near St. Croix before this was in 1972. What happened to Arlene Lillis on January 8th was by any historical measure extraordinarily rare. Here is what we do not know. The shark species has never been publicly confirmed. DPNR and the VI Department of Tourism announced plans to collaborate on a public education and sensitization campaign to provide information on ocean safety and how to respond in the event of a shark encounter on January 10th. As of March 2026, more than 2 months later, DPNR's official beach advisory simply lists Dorsch Beach as safe for swimming. No mention of sharks. No mention of the campaign. No update on the investigation. We are still waiting. At the time of this video, no explanation has yet been given for why a large shark came inside the designated buoy area, the zone marked as safe for swimmers. No public update has been issued about whether the investigation reached any conclusions. We do not know if any changes have been made to warning systems, signage, or monitoring at Dorsch Beach since this incident. We do not know if DPNR has updated its ocean safety guidelines for residents and visitors in response to this attack. If you have information about where this investigation stands, reach out. Contact information is in the description. The Virgin Islands is known for 2 things that are deeply connected: the ocean and the people who love it enough to keep coming back, residents and visitors alike. Arlene Lillis was one of those people. She had a home here. She chose this island year after year. She was, by every account, a part of this community in her own way. And on the beach where she died, strangers did not look away. A nurse jumped into the water to pull her out. A lineman from Nebraska ran toward the screaming instead of away from it. Nurses on the beach stepped forward. First responders came fast. For anyone visiting or living near St. Croix beaches, here is practical information you should have. The DPNR Division of Fish and Wildlife is the local authority on marine safety. Their guidance on ocean conditions and marine life should be checked before entering the water. Shark sightings in the USVI are common. Attacks are rare. But rare is not impossible, as this day proved. Dawn and dusk are historically higher risk windows for shark activity. Avoid wearing shiny jewelry in the water. Avoid areas near fishing activity. Know the buoy boundaries and stay within them. But also know that buoys mark human designations, not shark territory. Other shark safety tips are welcomed in the comments below. DPNR can be reached through the Virgin Islands government website. A wife of more than 30 years, a mother, a brand new grandmother who held her granddaughter Carter for the first time 7 months before she died. Her name was Arlene Susan Lillis. She was a pharmacist who spent her career caring for people. She loved St. Croix. She loved this water. She was doing what brought her peace. She deserved to go home. We remember her here, not as a shark attack statistic, but as a woman whose story is now woven into the fabric of a place she once loved. If you have a story that the community deserves to know, reach out, let that story be told. Information is in the description below.